Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today we have the 2021 Bronco Sport, and this is the Big Bend edition, and it's actually my wife's. We just brought it home today, and of course I have to put it on the lift to see what's going on with it. The color it's called Area 51, which is a unique color that they came out with. It kind of looks like it's weird. Different times of the day, it looks different colors. It looks like kind of like a blue, then it's a gray, then a grayish blue, a turquoise. It's pretty cool. Like you can tell from underneath, like here, it kind of has like that bluish gray, and then when I put the light on it here, it's like kind of like almost like a turquoise blue. So I mean that's pretty cool. But anyway, what most videos don't show you is the engine compartment and what is underneath, more importantly. So we're going to do that for you guys here today. So this is the 1.5 liter EcoBoost motor, and it is a 3-cylinder. So it's a straight 3. Obviously, is the only way to be able to do that. But here are the here's the fuel rail, and here are the 3 injectors. So I mean that's it, and you can tell just from the like the oil cap that it is a smaller motor. Here's the dipstick for your oil, so you can see where that's at. And I haven't even looked up oil capacity yet, so we're not quite there. I think we have 21 miles on us now, so we're far away from the first oil change. But I figured I'd run you through some of the inner components of what we have going on. So that is your washer fluid right there. This is going to be your overspill for your radiator. So your coolant. Obviously, this is your dipstick for the oil, your oil fill, and your master cylinder brake fluid fill that's there. And then this is your air box where you have your air filter. So it's all pretty simple, and it obviously has a hood lift here that its home is right there, and it has the double pull to open it on the inside engine compartment. So well, we got that. Let's put that down, and it locks in place there. That's that, and let's raise it up. All right, so let's stop here. We're going to take a look at all 4 corners. But basically, you have your basically like front strut, which is like a quick strut. So if we ever had to change this out, it's basically just all one piece that's there. Let's go around to the back. And again, it has 4 wheel discs. And back here, you get to kind of see this a little bit better. It has like these abutment springs that are on that, this little wire piece. So when you change your brakes out, it's a little bit different than your standard brake change. So you have to be aware of that when it comes time to change those. And it's got a beefy rotor on the back for this size vehicle. And you have your rear shock that's there. And you have a coil spring that's here. And then this is your rear control arm. So you do have like independent, 4-wheel independent suspension. This does come with the tow package, so it has the tow hook in the back here, and then working our way back around so you can see the front discs. So those are nice and beefy and are vented, which is great. And let's bring it up in the air. Okay, so it has a front air dam that runs underneath the air panel, so it makes more fuel efficient by having all the air flow underneath the vehicle. So that's why everything's kind of like hidden, and that helps with road noise and everything else as well. But flipping around here, you can see you have your catalytic converter. You have like a mid muffler to help with cabin noise, and then your exhaust runs back, and then you have the rear exhaust here. So you can see that, and it has I guess you consider that a dual exhaust coming out of the rear muffler. And again, better shot at this towing hook, and that is your towing plug. So it's a little bit different than you see the older round pieces. So your lower control arms connect to, like I had showed before, you have your coil spring is independent of your front or rear shock back here. So if you ever had to change them out, these are usually good for the life of the vehicle, to an extent, depending on where you live. So it's pretty easy to change the the shock out when it comes time to do that. So you have your rear stabilizer bar that runs in the back, and it helps with like stability. And it's a little bit different than, I guess, most that you'll see, because it bends up over here. Versus a car, it's a little bit held a little bit differently in place. Your rear differential is back here. So again, it's a decent size for this size vehicle and weight. It boasts 180 horsepower with the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine. So I mean, this is more than adequate. That's your drivetrain. That is your rear shaft that goes back, and it connects up here. And then you are going to have your standard transmission that is mounted to the side of the motor. So that's going to be your connection point that drives to the back. So basically you have your front wheel drive and then your rear drive shaft that goes back. Anyway, you have this little knuckle here that attaches to basically your quick strut. And then this is your steering mechanism here. Your outer tie rod goes with your inner tie rod. You have your front sway bar, which has a pretty long linkage for this size vehicle. But this is pretty beefy, so you definitely know you can hit some trails with that. This is your lower control arm that runs up front. And I do notice there's a little bit of rust on the knuckle on the other side. Not a big deal. I will undercoat the exposed areas here before we get into winter. And you can tell from outside the window we're still in the tail end of summer here. But more importantly, it's kind of built on the Ford Escape frame. I think there's about an 8-inch difference. So if you've ever had a Ford Escape or ever seen one, the oil plug and filter are underneath here. So I'm actually going to take that panel down for my own curiosity. But since I got you guys here for the trip, so it takes a 30 millimeter T socket, which if you've ever seen one, it's kind of a little bit different than your hex. But so you're going to need one of those. And these come out pretty quick. Not torqued out very much, which is good. So we're actually, I'm going to turn my torque down a little bit, find out what the right torque setting is without having to look it up. Okay, so there's a bunch of these that are holding this little underneath air skirt. Air dam. All right, let's see if that gives us enough room to peek under. Oops, dropped one. All right, let me put these down over here so we can get them later on. All right, so that is where your oil drain is for this car. And the oil filter is supposed to be in the general same area, which I do not see. Oh, there it is. So your oil filter is up here, up front. So that's in a little vicariously difficult spot to get to. So we have to take the entire skirt down to get there. This does make your oil change a little more difficult than it should be. And it's going to have these two tabs here, which are basically your little body panel pegs. So we can get that in here. Slip this in, pull it out, and that's going to let that slide out of the way. I think we can probably keep that one intact just for the show of it all. Okay, so that is your drain plug, and then this is going to be your oil filter up here. So when it comes time to change, you know where your oil filter is, and it's underneath here. And that gives you a good visual of the true undercarriage of the engine, and then your transmission, which is here. For future references, it doesn't look like it has a typical drain plug. So it's going to be a sealed system under here for your transmission. But you do have a transmission cooler here, which is cool. And yeah, so I don't see that suspectly may be the transmission drain plug if we ever get to that point. But that's for the future. But that gives you a undershot of the radiator and the cooling fans. But anyhow, when it comes time for your first oil change, that is where you find everything. All right, let's put this back together. And everything kind of slides back into place. So just be careful how you put everything back together again. Okay. And then we'll put this first body peg back in. Out, twist that in. There we go. All right, and then we just basically flip the drilling around. I'm just going to grab a couple real quick here, just kind of get everything started, and then we line that up. And it's got a little tab. It doesn't look like it's exactly where it's supposed to be, but that's supposed to be where it holds it while you're putting this together. It's not exactly lined up where it probably should be perfect, but it will get the job done. All right, let's put that on the 5 for the torque, which I think we got it now. And these are a lot of screws under here for this air dam. But again, it's all for fuel efficiency, quiet of the ride. And absolutely, if you've never had these body panels before, do not over torque them. It is so easy to do, and strip them out. Okay. And so this is what they are. So it's basically got, kind of looks like a, call it that, but it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points on it. Okay, so that's your T-set. And other than that, that's it. Let's bring this back down. And that is your overview of the Big Ben series Bronco Sport. So final note on the Bronco 2 Big Ben edition. It's got the 1.5 liter EcoBoost engine, and to be honest with you, I thought it was not going to have enough power for some of the hills up here in the Pocono Mountains, but honestly, we had 4 people in it, and this sucker drove no problem up the hills. Anyway, Brian from Garage Mahal, thanks for watching, and thanks for taking a peek underneath. Be safe out there.